Hey there, fellow wanderers. You find yourself amidst the flickering glow of candlelight, the air thick with a medley of aromas rose, sandalwood, and a hint of patchouli. It's a mythic memory, isn't it? The dreamy scents wafting through crowded medieval streets, mingling with the chatter of vendors hawking their goods. A cool breeze brushes your face, carrying with it the whispers of the past, and as you take a deep breath, the assorted fragrances fill your lungs like a heady, invisible potion. This isn't just a fairy tale of perfumed pasts. This is reality captured from the pages of history. So before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. You stride through a medieval city where exotic perfumes play an alluring symphony, enticing the senses. In this world, scent is not merely a frivolity. It's an art, a means of expression, and often a statement of survival. The air is alive with the enticing notes of frankincense, myrrh, and rare spices woven through the tapestry of everyday life. Imagine, if you will, the seaside ports of Venice, where perfumed wares from across the globe arrive, each vial promising an escape, a transformation from the mundane to the marvelous. In this era, perfumes were more precious than gold, a true luxury that required one to dip a hand into the depths of their purse. The reason for their value wasn't solely their captivating fragrance, but also the complex process of their creation. Perfumes commenced their journeys in far-off lands where ingredients like ambergris, that whale-derived perfume based on rare flower essences, were harvested with care. As ships from the east docked, these treasures changed hands, sometimes illicitly, among merchants who well understood their worth. But perfumes weren't always welcomed by everyone, and they stirred more than just the air. There was a societal belief in the power of scents to influence emotions, to enchant, and dare I say, to intoxicate. The notion that a simple fragrance could blur lines between reality and fantasy lent these perfumes an almost mystical quality. Historians still argue whether the allure of these scents was purely psychological or held some profound truth. Among tales of strange potions and secret liaisons, perfumes lingered in the shadows as silent accomplices to personal stories and public intrigues. Yet, amidst this olfactory opulence, the process of crafting perfumes was far from glamorous. You might find an artisan at the heart of a bustling town square, tiny glass vials arrayed before them, each filled with various suspensions of oil and alcohol, fragrant beyond belief. With deft fingers, they'd measure and mix, pouring hints of this and that until they achieved a blend just right, their work infused with nearly alchemical precision. This artistry was part science, part sorceria craft, rich in tradition with whispers of past perfumers guiding the modern hand. Imagine the humdrum chatter of families gathering after a long day, recounting stories from their day-to-day life. Every person, from noblewoman to street vendor, could find themselves in a cloud of perfume, choosing scents as armor against the ever-cloying stench of the streets. For a wealthy dame visiting the market, the splash of an orange blossom eau de toilette might serve as both indulgence and protection from the animated aromas of the fishmonger's stall. The fragrant journey continues to hawk stands at the fairs, festive yet secretive meetings where perfumes were exchanged as coveted currency. Here, each scent told a story. Jasmine spoke of love, while spicy cinnamon whispered of more clandestine affairs. Among cobblestones and spires, the aromatic narrative unfolded, a perfume-imbued painting of life in good measure. Of course, there were misunderstandings too, leading to comical tales that peppered the perfume narrative. Imagine the hapless noble accidentally overdoing the musk, causing dismay in court as courtiers politely pinched their noses. Or the unfortunate young lad who mistook a potent potion for cologne, turning a church service into an accidental scene stealer. In a world where scent was power, missteps were not only awkward, but left societal ripples akin to laughter rolling across a dining table. Perfume, thus, was more than vanity. It was identity, status, a lifeline, and a bit of magic. As you continue to wander these ancient thoroughfares, you might catch the subtle notes drifting from under shadowed doorways, the perfumes whispering secrets older than the stone walls around them. They tell of a time when the art of fragrance was not only about pleasing the nose but about engaging the soul, luring the heart and perhaps, just maybe, every now and then, casting a gentle spell upon us all. As you continue your scented journey, your path takes you deeper into the tangled intrigue of the past, where the air grows thick with mystery and the faint hum of alchemical secrets. Picture this, a dimly lit chamber where the flicker of flames dances off ancient glassware. You brush aside a heavy velvet curtain to reveal shelves lined with strangely shaped bottle elixirs of all hues, waiting patiently to whisper their secrets of transformation to those brave enough to listen. In the heart of this murky enclave, you recognize the telltale signs of an alchemist's lair. Here, men and women driven by boundless curiosity seek the mythical spirit of perfume, a fabled essence rumored to perfect one's inner being. Alchemists straddled the line between science and magic, their quest for the philosopher's stone, even including the ethereal world of perfumery. You see, their fingers weren't just busy with lead or gold, they delved into crafting exotic scents, hoping to produce not only perfumes but potions that could intoxicate the senses and elevate consciousness. These early scientists combined a curious assortment of materials: ambergris, musk, civet, and precious flower extracts, blending them in complex ratios that often seemed an exercise in madness. But madness, my dear traveler, is sometimes the precursor to discovery. Their efforts at synthesis and transformation reflected broader existential questions. What is the nature of beauty? Can its spirit be captured and bottled? The haunting reverberations of these inquiries linger as you stand amidst the heady whirl of laboratory aromas. Coffee, dear listener, had not yet made its way to Europe, but these alchemists might occasionally sip on peculiar brews of their own invention, their earthy fragrances intermingling with the perfumes they crafted. Whether these concoctions brought them clarity or merely added to their fervor remains an open point of lively academic debate, echoing through time like a soft yet persistent melody. Think about it. The art of perfumery, sitting snugly alongside the mystical science of transmutation, captured the medieval imagination. Alchemists believed in the power of transformation, that the basest material could be elevated to enlightenment. The resemblance of perfume making to alchemical processes where essential oils, alcohol, and macerated herbs merged instilled in them a belief that perfumes were not simply transient luxuries, but portals to deeper knowledge, to purification of the soul, or at the very least, an elevated state of mind. But where ambition blooms, confusion sometimes follows. The line between alchemist and charlatan was as delicate as the flowers they harvested. Some thrived as revered creators, their perfumed filters trading hands in circles of nobility and scholars, their names whispered with a mixture of trepidation and awe. Others, however, were but fragrant fools who found themselves at the business end of ridicule when their aromatic ambitions imploded, quite literally, in some cases, in clouds of smoke and empty promises. Amidst overheated claims and genuine breakthroughs, esoteric symbols of impossible beauty shared parchment space with elaborate recipes for perfumes believed to protect against plague or win a lover's heart. Or, in more humorous pursuits, concoctions designed to eliminate the stench of chamber pots, ensuring one's personality was the only thing holding sway at a dinner conversation. The quest for sublime beauty through scent was not confined to the laboratory alone. Outside, beneath the sky's indigo canopy, you hear tales of hopeful alchemists adorn high courts, their aromatic wares intoxicating the senses of kings and courtiers alike. Perfumes, once crafted as private pursuits of passion, became public badges of alchemical prowess, symbols of influence, and sometimes the very stuff of which status was spun. You might chuckle at the image of a somber medieval court, resplendent in their overdosed colognes, vying for favor as the perfume du jour wafts through the air like a competitive haze. Amid the laughable chaos, though, you must concede to these alchemists, with their earnest attempts to capture heaven in a bottle, only magnified the human desire for transcendence through art and aroma. Let's not forget the apprentices, the scribes who had the pleasure of learning through both mundane duty and exceptional opportunity in these fragrant labyrinths. Under the strict supervision of a master, they observed and noted techniques, flirted with fire, and perhaps snuck a quick whiff of an evolving concoction, whisking themselves away on olfactory journeys during monotonous tasks. Young and eager, they absorbed the mysteries long before modern chemistry cast its clear light across the alchemical haze. So here we stand, watching as history paints these alchemists with a brushstroke of both revered mystery and mischievous folly. This pursuit, the relentless chasing of scents, may not have always hit its mark, but it undeniably coloured the medieval dreamscape with laughter, longing, and a fair share of wonderfully fragrant detours. As you step away from this storied chamber, the whiff of their legacy clings to your senses, reminding you that in every attempt at transmutation from lead to gold or foul to floral there lies the timeless allure of the human imagination. Emerging from the dim interiors of ancient alchemical chambers, you find yourself standing at the bustling crossroads of medieval civilization where the air thrums with the vibrant energy of trade. Your feet settle on well-trodden stones as you gaze down the sprawling trade routes that thread through continents, uniting cultures and curating an aromatic exchange that would change Europe forever. Here, each path leads to distant lands where stories of spices, silk, and cere incidentally blend with the whispers of the wind. These trade routes, sometimes simple donkey trails and other times grand caravansaries, became the arteries through which the essence of the Orient flowed westward. Picture yourself amid the chatter and clamour where merchants from the Levant, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Far East converge, their tongues painting a polyglot portrait of human enterprise. Near the docks, the heady notes of cinnamon from Ceylon mix with the whisper of jasmine from Persia, each pack mule and merchant ship serving as heralds of olfactory enchantment. Your senses are invited on a journey that begins with the scents that waft from the bustling bazaars of Damascus and Baghdad, espying the journey's end at the vibrant marketplaces of medieval Venice or the grand courts of Paris. It's a fragrance trail that tantalizes and teases, driven by desire and diplomacy, a trail that spawns legends and lays the foundation for today's modern obsession with luxury and allure. But it wasn't merely the traders who were caught in this olfactory sweep. You can see the eager hands of craftsmen waiting to transform these exotic ingredients into precious essences. The perfumers of medieval Europe, often working silently from small workshops, frantically tried to emulate the alluring scents of these far-off places. Your eyes watch as precious bundles of myrrh, tonka beans, and oud wood are delivered, their mere presence a testament to the extraordinary journeys undertaken across hazardous terrains. Hark! Whispers carried by the wind speak of maritime ventures, tracing heady tales of daring seafarers who braved the unpredictable seas. Risk was always on the horizon, but so too was reward. For those who succeeded, the possibility of multiplying their wealth tenfold by trading in these prized, aromatic treasures. Historians still argue whether it was the lure of spices or that of aromatic gums and oils that incentivized these perilous journeys. Yet, this is where culture coalesces, as merchants aren't just traders but maestros of diplomacy, their caravans carrying not just goods, but also ideas. The perfumed air of the caravanserai, you might speculate, gently knits together the disparate threads of idea exchanges, leading scents and stories mingling amid smoking samovars and labyrinthine anecdotes of adventures. The merchants, therefore, become silent ambassadors, cross-pollinating the scents and sensibilities of one world with another, weaving tapestries of fragrance and familiarity. At a nearby gathering, travellers exchange tales, and laughter bubbles up like frothy head, while the pervasive perfume offers camaraderie among strangers. Scent in this medieval setting transcends language, serving as a singular anthem under which all humanity can assemble a universal expression of wealth, want, and otherworldly wonder. Meanwhile, back in the cosmopolitan heart of Europe, the nobility and the elite are enraptured by their new array of aromatic accoutrements. The arrival of exotic scents is nothing short of theatrical. Lavish feasts hosting the latest in perfume quickly become status, infused events. Not to mention the more awkward consequences as the naturally pungent local aromas strive in futility to match their newcomer kin, causing the occasional olfactory overload in the courts. And in this maritime metaphor, you float through a cascade of social ripples that echo louder reaches. As European borders expand, the scents catalogued and commodified travel further afield west to the Americas, east to the steppes, developing sensual dialects of their own as they integrate with indigenous fragrances and flavors in an ongoing opera of aroma. Of course, there's humor strung together with trade's beads, lost consignments, mistaken sacks replaced with mundane goods, leaving the poor merchant baffled. Imagine the compensatorily caffeinated footnote whispered by a trader hawking his wares on a winter afternoon, wondering how a censured mislabeling had imported rather more cats than catechins. Thus, Rumour's fragrant erratum expanded the legacy of transcontinental commerce in its expectantly inelegant chortles. Each trade route, whether packed with camels along the Silk Road or sailing the seas with sturdy ships, ultimately delivers something more than just spices. They bring with them the diverse breadth of the world, each scent a note in the ongoing composition of human history. Yet, the perfume saga doesn't end here. It waits patiently, nestled within the pages of history, always ready to unleash the fragrant ghost of times gone by. The journey of these perfumed pioneers continues, shaping empires, tantalizing spirits, and beckoning modern wanderers to trace their graceful, aromatic arcs. Your footsteps echo softly in the hushed corridors of medieval medicine, where the interplay of scent and health unfolds with a curious mix of superstition, hope, and genuine scientific pursuit. Within these shadowy alcoves, covered in the glow of flickering lamps, the age-old art of healing comes alive, the air redolent with the herbal mixtures and potions that doctors of the day prescribed. Here, amidst the fragrance of dried herbs and distilled waters, the progress of medieval medicine intertwined intimately with the essence of perfume. Imagine yourself stepping into the chamber of a renowned medieval physician. The array of jars and vials, each encasing potent elixirs, sit in meticulous order, their contents infusing the room with a melange of earthy and spicy aromas. Aromatic waters and herbal infusions comprised a crucial armament in the healer's toolkit, designed to chase away maladies both real and imagined. Lavender, rosemary, and sage, mingling with more exotic imports, were believed to possess qualities that could alleviate suffering and maintain health. The medical philosophy of the time relied heavily on humoral theory, a system that emphasized restoring balance among the body's four humors: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Perfumes, with their perceived ability to penetrate and invigorate, played a role in this complex process of rebalancing. You can almost see the bustling activity as apothecaries prepare their aromatic tonics designed to restore the equilibrium, the sweet scent of rosewater lending its gentle touch to an assortment of bitter concoctions. Indeed, it was widely believed that certain scents could ward off illness and malevolent forces. The fragrant smoke of burning herbs not only cleansed the air, but was thought to protect against plague and other scourges that haunted European towns. Such beliefs, while scientifically ungrounded by today's standards, offered a sense of control and protection, a fragrant talisman against the unseen threats lingering in the air. Historians still argue whether these scent-based methods had any real effect, but the comforting blanket they provided was undeniably powerful. As vivid as the blend of diverse aromas might be in this room, it wasn't without its more humorous or peculiar episodes. Picture a patient, dutifully consuming herbal medication with the sour twist of bitter galingale, looking no more convinced of its efficacy than someone consuming crocodile dung sunscreen might. Today the fragrance, hitting his olfactory senses harder than the flavor. Or a doctor, vehemently shaking his head as if denying the suggestion to inhale such volatile concoctions, lest they become more inebriated by their own medicines than by their unfermented equivalents. Beyond the practitioners and potions, smell also played an integral role in diagnosis. Physicians often relied on their keen sense of smell to detect illness, judging from the putrid or sweet aromas emanating from their patients. As you watch these healers assess their charges, one can't help but see the blend of art and intuition in their gestural language, the imperceptible nod of understanding or resigned sigh as an odor confirms their hypothesis. Among these scents arose a special class of healing perfume concoctions called suffumigations, a practice by which the sufferer would sit enveloped by clouds of aromatic smoke intended to expel sickness. Try shepherding these images through the mist. A patient seated, eyes visibly red, yet hopeful within the misty haze, while the swift, moving currents of smoke play a tactile dance upon their skin. Of course, not every medical application of perfume played out as expected. Often, it was perceived that stronger odors might counteract the unpleasant humors, considered rampant during outbreaks of catastrophic diseases, resulting in moments of endless ceremonial fragrance, bumbling until tangible results may have seemed fathomable. The winding roads of scent and healing allude to the inherent desire to improve human life. But perhaps the greatest testament to this aromatic endeavor lies not in individual successes, but in conveying humanity's fervent ambition to unveil the mysteries of body and mind. Even amidst the occasional whimsical blunder or overt extravagance, the heritage of perfume in medicine summoned sincerity to the ancient holistic quest. Once more, you find yourself retracing history's steps, leaving behind the faint echo of a world where health and fragrance fused in sometimes glorious, often curious harmony. Step gently as you emerge from these antique halls, for the stories of those who dared blend the olfactory and medicinal linger. Soft, in the very air you breathe persistent reminders that healing, like fragrance, transcends time, timeless, in pursuit for well-being amidst the fragility of existence. As you wander onward through the medieval landscape, your journey takes you to spaces both sacred and spiritual, where the power of scent touches the divine and drums up visions of heaven or whispers of the damned. The scent of incense wafts through the stone-laden halls of grand cathedrals, mingling with murmured prayers and the flicker of candlelight. It is here, amidst the echoes of devotion, that the bewitching aromas of perfumes share an intricate and often contentious relationship with the church. You find yourself amidst a solemn mass, where the pungent and sweet smoke of frankincense curls its way heavenward, thick tendrils weaving through the cool, still air. This sacred scent serves as both a physical purification and a spiritual one, representing the prayers of the faithful lifting to the heavens above. Perfumes in the church establish a direct link between scent and spirituality, an ancient tradition believed to cleanse not only the air, but the spirit itself. For the devout, the presence of incense is a divine tapestry, its wafting aroma, a bridge between worshippers and the ethereal realm. In this holy setting, you can almost hear the liturgical chants, the reverberations gathering strength as they blend with incense's sweet yet profound presenza, multisensory celebration of faith. Perfumes, in this light, become more than mere adjunct. They metamorphose into the very fabric of spiritual experience. Yet, not all aromas held such hallowed reputation. There were darker whispers, too, of perfumes entwined with sin, power, and seduction. Accusations of witchcraft and heresy would sometimes spring from something as simple as an exotic perfume misunderstood as the olfactory manifestation of the forbidden arts. It's a curious duality that unfolds before you. The same frankincense that sanctified church proceedings could, with a different breath, invite allegations of diabolical mischief, revealing how thin the line between sacred and profane could be drawn. Historians still engage in vigorous debates regarding how these judgments of aromatic inclusion or exclusion seeped through layers of ecclesiastic authority and broke into secular governance. Were these decisions cast purely through theological acumen, or were they influenced by politics as thick and heady as the incense itself? Within such cloistered walls, answers remain shadowed by both the smoke and the scripture. Picture a frazzled clergy navigating this aromatic battlefield, an overzealous bishop, wagging an admonitory finger at a whiff of sultry sandalwood freshly arrived from the east. Another, silently contemplating whether to embrace or espouse a vibrant new musk, scented with scandal and intrigue. It sparks historical anecdotes of saints who, legends say, emitted incredible aromas upon death, a divine endorsement, if ever scent secured sanctity. In more light-hearted fare, you might chuckle at a young acolyte, nervously pondering how much incense is too much incense, turning a solemn service into an intimate affair of stifled coughs and watering eyes, as the congregation accommodates the perfumed haze forming Atmospheric conditions traditionally more suited for a Russian sauna than a cathedral courtyard. Despite these amusing interruptions, you must acknowledge how the church embraced perfume beyond its sensate splendor, wielding it as an instrument of divine instruction. The burning of incense was an act steeped in meaning, a fraternal embrace welcomed or warily rebutted in universal conviction. Straying into more secular domains, political alliances and mighty charters were often sweetened by precious perfume. Gifts a fragrant olive branch, extended in tentative parley. Perfumers, carrying secrets so potent and beguiling, became unlikely agents of influence. You visualize a bishop contemplating an invaluable vial of myrrh, contemplating while affixing his seal to an ecclesiastical agreement, an intoxicating embodiment of fragrant diplomacy. In witnessing such historical passages, you sense how perfume occupied a space, at once paradoxically simple, yet complex, woven interstitially into the very fabric of time, with both tact and intrigue, sacred purpose interlaced with speculation and superstition. Retracing steps along the candlelit paths of incense-rich altars, you discern once more how winding the road of faith can be when fragrance turns ally and adversary, invoking passionate and poetic dichotomies alongside its ambient companion and spiritual confidant. The sacred scents may fade with each footstep you take, but the tantalizing aroma they inspired endures, transmitting their divine craft, predating even the cathedral's standing stones, a legacy ephemeral yet eternal. Your journey through the scented trails of the medieval world now leads you to the heart of the perfumer's workshop. Nestled within the narrow alleyways of bustling towns, these workshops are sanctuaries for the olfactory alchemists of the day. Here, the art and craft of medieval perfumers unfold a mystical dance of creativity, tradition, and jealously guarded secrets. As you approach, the air is filled with the unmistakable aroma of crushed petals, fragrant woods, and mysterious oils. Stepping inside, you are immediately enveloped by warmth and fragrantia, sensory symphony conducted by the seasoned hands of an artisan. The perfumer stands before a wooden table, their tools of the trade arranged like the notes of a musical score. You observe the meticulous care with which they handle each ingredient, coaxing forth the hidden essences trapped within. This is more than mere chemistry. It is a delicate and deliberate act of creation, where every choice is steeped in tradition and innovation. Medieval perfumers, much like their alchemical counterparts, were secretive by nature. You can almost hear the hushed whispers of apprentices as they worked diligently, learning the intricate craft passed down through generations. Each artisan possessed closely guarded recipes, familial treasures handed through the ebb and flow of time, wrapped in secrecy like fine silk hidden from prying eyes. For these perfumers, success was not solely measured by reputation, but by the quiet assurance that their life's work would endure. You notice, too, the significance of guilds in this world of scents. These associations of skilled craftsmen provided structure, protection, and regulation. Within the guild's confines, aspirants dedicated themselves to years of apprenticeship, mastering the requisite skills before earning the title of master perfumer. Historians still debate whether these guilds were necessary incubators of tradition or stiflers of independent innovation. Still, the camaraderie and competition they fostered added to the rich tapestry of Perfumery's history. Their lively debates peppering academic symposia might evoke the age-old image of guild members quibbling over the authenticity of anise oil versus orris root over generous pours of honey wine, interspersed with both charitable guffaws and keen critiques. You can smile fondly, imagining the occasional purloining for cribbing recipes ferried over by way of subtle persuasion or perhaps an incentivized jug of especially fine clair. Alongside these professional associations were the dangers of counterfeits and charlatans. Shady characters often attempted to pass off inferior wares as premier fragrances, blending inexpensive herbs with oils and marketing them with grandiose claims. This confluence of cunning rogues fills the unfolding narrative with intrigue and humor. An unwitting dandy, realizing too late that his special blend evokes more outhouse than oud. Meanwhile, the perfumer is meticulous in their work, ensuring their product lives up to the serenity of the craft. With delicate fingers, they blend amber with tinctures of rose and essence of violet, each droplet poured with the precision of a surgical hand, creating symphonies of scent. This workshop is a theatre, the perfumer a maestro, transforming base elements into something ineffably more fragrance, born of passion, precision, and the pursuit of a sublime moment captured in a bottle. The tools of this tradialembics, mortars, pestles, and graduated pipettes hold an array of potential, transforming simple botanicals into liquid luxury. Meanwhile, copper stills bubble quietly in the corner, their metallic surfaces gleaming in the soft glow of afternoon light, the subtle scent of distillation winding its way through the air. This is the heart of innovation and art, a workspace transformed into a sanctuary where history can be inhaled in as deeply as aromatic nuances permit. In this enclosed, fragrant theatera, sensory odyssey infused with audacity and tradition, the legacy of medieval perfumers is neither forgotten nor taken lightly. Their bottles of amber glass sit casting soft reflections of Europe's complex olfactory story, now intertwined with those templed foreovers. As you step out from this swirling atmosphere into the cool embrace of the broader world, the echoes of aromatic endeavors resonate, still a reminder of how these artisans, mere human and wholly inspired, stitched each reimagined scent into the ambit of life, much like the great tapestries of courtly glory or the sweeping frescoes born of medieval imagination. The legacy lingers, imbibing whispers of the past with the regenerative breath of nature's unfurling inspiration, patiently waiting anew to return from the recesses of time. As you continue along the fragrant path through medieval society, the air grows dense with the rich scent of history intertwined with social prestige, where every essence, every blend, carries more than just a delightful aroma. You're stepping into a world where perfume is not merely a luxury, but a definitive marker of social status, a subtle yet profound expression of one's place in the medieval hierarchy. Imagine strolling through the halls of a grand castle, where the nobility luxuriate in scents that speak volumes about their wealth and lineage. Perfume, in its distilled elegance, becomes a language of its own, an olfactory dialect that conveys power and prestige without uttering a single word. The scents chosen by the elite are crafted from rare and treasured ingredients, each more exotic than the last, imported from distant lands at great expense. These fragrances do more than cloak the wearer in pleasant-smelling clouds. They whisper of distant travels, conquests, and the power to acquire that which is unobtainable for most. As you walk through a bustling medieval market, notice how the fruity top notes of orris and bergamot waft through the air, their sources distinct and distant. These aren't just perfumes. They're treasures, symbolizing affluence and discerning taste. Wealthy patrons could pay a king's ransom for the perfect scent, vying for the best materials and brightest glinting scents to obscure less desirable aromas of daily life, practical luxury enrobed in social significance. You envision the flourishing perfume boxes that adorned the vanities of feudal ladies, each adorned with intricate carvings and inlaid with precious stones, reflection of both their societal standing and the fragrant elixirs contained within. The choice of scent, whether a regal rose or a more mysterious myrrh, was strategic, carefully selected to enhance one's allure or seal one's social dominance. A noblewoman's perfume wardrobe was as vital as her garments, woven into elaborate, shimmering silks, a narrative every bit as nuanced as the finery she displayed. Even knights and courtly men, understanding the implications of a well-placed scent, would armor themselves not only in metal, but in musk, sandalwood, and ambergris, each carrying an unspoken promise of elegance and influence. As you imagine them prepared for a joust or a grand feast, the lasting impression of their meticulously chosen fragrance complemented tales of valor and genteel behavior. The layers of perfume a counterpart to polished, shining armor. Historians still argue whether the flourishing of perfume use among the elites served primarily to mask the unmet hygienic standards of the time, or if it was inherently linked to rising aspirations and evolving identities. Whichever the case, what is clear is that the language of perfume became inextricably tied to court life, where whispers of scented breezes were as telling as whispered words of influence. For the avid perfumer, there was often the sly pleasure of knowing that the bounty they brewed would arouse jealousy and desire among their clientele. Imagine the perfumer overhearing an eavesdropped conversation, a noblewoman praising the exotic notes crafted just for her scent, drawing admiring glances, the envy tangible even amid silent approval from her peers. This society alive, bustling, glamorous, could sometimes fumble hilariously among the fringes of scent. Picture a stuffy ballroom, where the heat of the crowd intensifies scents rich in civet and musk to a formidable assault on the senses, causing momentary discomfort and amusement among gathered guests, a blend, to say the least, lacking in respite for some. Perfume collections, often passed down through generations, evolved into fragrant archives of family history, much like aristocratic portraits or ancient family crests. These essences, with their storied pasts, contained not only scents, but also the echoes of ancestral tales of opportunities seized and fortunes tendered, mingling with intimate stories of love or cunning diplomacy. Thus, as you leave this world trailing behind a line of fragrant memory, the significance of perfume in the medieval hierarchy stands clear. It was a story told through the richness of its ingredients and the grace of its application. Perfume, capturing the essence of power and elegance, wrapped in mystery or luxury, perfumed the scent trails of history with a timeless allure, not merely a statement, but the personal poetry of prominence, suspended in time like the softest note of a remembered melody, waiting to be recalled today. Now, let your senses lead you into the world of medieval romance, where perfume transcends its material essence to become the silent bard of courtship and love. You find yourself amid the intoxicating aromas of a blossoming garden, where every scent plays Cupid, binding hearts or breaking them in the ephemeral dance of medieval amour. In this time, love and perfume are entwined in an intricate dance, where the art of seduction often hinges on the subtlest notes of a well-chosen fragrance. Imagine young nobles at a lavish banquet, each adorned not only in finery, but also in hints of floral and spice, a carousel of olfactory delights. With every twirl of a courtly dance, airborne scents swirl and intermingle, each inhaled breath sparking potential connections, the occasional contrary chemistry leading to humorous parries in conversation. Perfume, in its delicate power, becomes an unspoken but potent tool for courtship. The lady who chose to wear a jasmine-styled perfume might do so with intent, knowing it represents both allure and elegance. Each floral note she wears becomes a subtle sigh of her heart's desires, projecting both availability and elusiveness. Historians still debate whether such deliberate uses of fragrance were seen as bold statements or gentle hints, but in both strategies, the allure of scent charted its own course in the dance of affection. For suitors, the charm lay often in mixing a fragrance as intoxicating as their poetic love declarations. Armed with a rose-scented token or musk-laced handkerchief, a young admirer might hope to win favor or seal affection from their object of desire. It's easy to imagine the nervous tets, where one misplaced note of civet could cause more aversion than attraction, charming blunder softened by awkward glances and placating gestures. Perfumeries became meeting grounds, the backdrop of romantic intrigues and whispered affections. You might envision a cloaked figure slipping inside a shop of scent, seeking consultation for a blend known to pique the interest of a particular paramour. It is here, among the small vials and delicate fragrances, that romances blossom as perfumers discreetly proffer recommendations for capturing one's heart through tempting aroma. Yet, not all romantic endeavors end with feasts and felicitations. There are the inevitable tales of comedic mishaps, between spurts of misplaced vigor and the unchecked enthusiasm of adolescent hearts. Picture, if you will, a sequestered garden, entirely overrun with pungent oranges, where romantic endeavors lead to laughter when a beloved overdoses on cologne, mistaking it for love's dear tonica, distraction met with mirth rather than misunderstanding. Perfumes also played crucial roles in ceremonies celebrating unions and promises. The florid fragrance of orange blossoms, sweetly aromatic, became synonymous with weddings, a celebration of union and a scent forever tethered to vows and festivities. You can feel the mellow sweetness wafting through a chapel or rustic hall, where it enriches the atmosphere with promises and joy, creating a tapestry of something fresh and vibrant, much like the futures being pledged. The written word, too, found kinship with scent, verse becoming fragrant with description, dessert with metaphor. In many ways, courtly traditions saw perfumes embroiled in a literary romance of sorts, summoned to life within the pages of troubadours and knights' tales, olfactory equivalent of the grand gestures, articulate in legend and lore. As you retreat from this aromatic realm of liaisons and longing, take with you the understanding that perfumes, much like the people who wore them, played a profound part in shaping personal narratives. The romantic odors linger on in history's breath, a reminder of fragrant hearts locked in rhythm and rhyme, their essence eternally tracing the storylines of lovers past. Leaving behind the sweet notes of yesteryear's serenades and sighs, you recognize once more the power enclosed within those small bottles, the ability to ignite passion, tickle infatuation, and envelop love in all its nuanced, aromatic glory. The essence of this medieval enchantment is a testament to the magnificent subtleties of courtship and connection, where perfume becomes the silent yet eloquent muse of hearts entwined through the ages. As you wander further into the aromatic tapestry of the medieval era, a curious cloud of intrigue unfurls before you, hovering with questions: can perfume truly intoxicate, or is this merely another heady myth spun by time and tale? You find yourself in a dimly lit apothecary's shop, where candlelight flickers on rows of glass bottles, each containing the promise of transport to worlds of fantasy or enlightenment, if only for a fleeting moment. The fascination with perfumes and their effects was never simply about their scent, but about the deeper sensory experiences they could evoke. Imagine, if you will, the whispers around an ancient hearth, tales of individuals overtaken by an aroma so potent it clouded the senses and blurred reality itself. It was said that certain fragrances held the power to mesmerize, shifting perception and inspiring intoxicating reveries. Scholars and charlatans alike debated whether these claims were mere musings of fancy or grounded in the science of the day. Some argued that the right combination of floral and herbal notes could indeed heighten emotions or alter one's state of being. These debates often unfolded in the shadows of curiosity, with defenders and detractors alike holding forth over flagons of mulled wine, their spirited conversations as enlivened as the elixirs they championed. At the heart of this potency lay the elusive aromatic compounds of the time era, multifaceted creations. The allure of spices such as cardamom and the sweet resins of storied balsams were thought to release a latent power when combined at precise ratios, a concept not unlike today's pseudo-scientific wonders that draw unwitting interest from modern underlings. Venture deeper into these aromatic mysteries, and you might grasp the appeal and invitation for your own imaginings into a surreal experience. Scent itself becomes an entity, seen as both ethereal and corporeal, tangible in its ability to wield profound cognitive influence. Visualize the blurred edges of reality, where scent paves the way into heightened experiences, a journey guided not just by the head, but by the scent-bejeweled heart. In contrast, consider the mundane yet amusing occurrences when the airs of mystique faded into the fizzled whispers of expectation unmet. Picture well-to-do patrons purchasing so-called filters of wonder, only to discover the head-spinning effects were more akin to over-enthusiastic moonshine than mystical enlightenmenta, fleeting adventure into the bewilderingly aromatic. These tales of intoxication, or the lack thereof, invite an exploration of the inherent allure of the unknown that perfumes cradle within their essence. The alchemical mystique surrounding their creation feeds into the mythos, providing narratives for medieval thrill-seekers as they sought to unveil the secrets hidden within every drop. Yet, this penchant for enchantment did, on occasion, weave its way into the baleful retinue of superstition. Herbalists and healers wielded powerful concoctions, believing in the virtue of their scented brews. While the uninitiated regarded them skeptically, they existed on the edge of that tantalizing divide. Amid the shadows and musings of perfumed insight, you might smile at the scene of an arrival upon some quaint village, where a kind yet misguided shopkeeper solemnly assures a hopeful traveller that his perfume of Eden holds the spirit of gods within only for fragrance fumed. Sensibilities to spill over into laughter as the enchanted voyager departs with naught but the delicate perfume of gently crushed mint, mingling soothingly. Ethereal adventure stilled, crafted from passion and curiosity. Each fragrance at once imprisons and liberates the spirit, inviting you into experiences that differ as much in depth as demure distillations swirling within simple vials. As you depart the apothecary's enigmatic glow, allow your senses to linger upon the border of trepidation and delight a balancing act of myth and veracity, positioned precisely like the artisan's finely curated blends. Far beyond the exit's threshold, where light and dark mingle into the everyday scent of hope and laughter, remember, those intoxicating endeavors of yesteryear remain as timelessly potent as the true narratives of ardor and exploration they insulate. In this balance of scholarship and sensation, the dance of myth endures, inviting both exploration and enchantment to flourish within an enchantment eternal. Continuing your olfactory pilgrimage through the annals of time, you find yourself in a realm not entirely of this world, a place constructed from myth, legend, and dusty tomes. In the stillness here, the air is redolent with the imagined scents of old tales, the sweet aroma of chamomile and lavender from enchanted gardens, the musky undertones of mythical beasts, and the smoky breath of dragon's fire. Literature, you realize, is a landscape burgeoning with fragrances as richly woven as its narratives, from Arthurian legends to the tapestries of medieval romance. Your journey leads you to the courts of King Arthur, where tales of chivalry and magic intertwine, their pages alive with the vivid sense of reality suspended in fantasy. The knightly quest is defined not only by valor, but also by the subtle interactions of aromascents that denote honor or betrayal, courage or cowardice. Imagine, with each turning page, the smell of rich, loamy earth, damp with the morning dew of Avalon, or the floral perfume of Guinevere, mingling with the setting sun's warm embrace. In these stories, perfumes are more than mere olfactory experiences. They are symbols. A single scent might represent an entire kingdom's hope or frame the tragic fall of a hero. Consider the enchanted forests where Merlin concocts brews, imbued with the fragrance of wildflowers and enchanted herbs, each element carrying the lore of wisdom and mystery. Here, fragrances serve as magical elements, conduits through which the ethereal meets the corporeal. Literature thrives on the interplay of scent, using it to evoke mood, setting, and character. You find the literary aromas deeply connected to that of the period, crafting an invisible tapestry where storytelling and scent harmonize, resonating with readers and listeners alike. It captures a time when perfumes mingled with the tangible realm to create a backdrop of impossible realities. Imagine, with a gentle chuckle, the knight who gallantly presents a hastily combined love potion meant to allure, yet finds his hastiness rendered with unintended hilarity, the perfumed concoction, stinging eyes rather than wooing hearts. Such moments stretch the boundary of reality within fiction, tickling whims with both machinations and merriment. Scholars still argue whether the aromatic details in these sagas serve to enrich storytelling or if they offered a subtle critiquey, a reflection of society's attitudes toward luxury, indulgence, and the otherworldly promise that fragrances seem to hold. This debate ripens like age-old mulled wine, infusing scholarly gatherings with robust notes of discussion. Scent also plays a crucial role in the folkloric imaginings of the medieval past. Witches, fairies, and magical creatures often bore perfumes to denote their roles within the cinnamon and clove for enchantment, bitter almond for poison, and the cloying sweetness of poppies tethered to dreams. These stories speak of a world where the seen and the unseen meet in acts of aromatic prestidigitation, wherein scent itself becomes an actor on a crowded stage. Within these fragrant fables lies humor aplenty. Imagine a hapless hero, enchanted by a love-hungry fairy who douses him with a perfume so potent, he sneezes his way out of her grasp, eternally grateful for the reprieve. Thus, the mischievous twists of fate reverberate through time, filling the air with tales immortal in their whimsical allure. As you drift further within this literary cloud, you catch a glimpse of how narrative perfumes wrap themselves around philosophical ideals, blending the raw ingredients of humanity's aspirations and fears. Even in the most abstract of these tales, the motifs of scent endure, gently perfuming the spaces between words, hinting at truths more potent than prose alone could convey. Leaving this narrative tapestry, let the lingering scents transport you, and guard these rich tales in memory's vault. The imaginary landscapes, teeming with scented inspirations, continue to waft through your thoughts, a testament to how literature and fragrance intertwine, enlivening tales with their aromatic magic. Perfume in the world of myth and literature remains an enduring reminder that stories, much like scents, possess the prowess to captivate, transform, and inspire across the sweeping vistas of human experience, proving that while pages may yellow and bindings wear, their essence remains forever fresh upon the curious breeze. Stepping away from the enchanted woods and medieval romances, you venture into a chapter rich with the evolution and innovation of both ingredients and techniques in the world of medieval perfumery. Here, the air is charged with the ambition of artisans looking to refine and, in some cases, completely reinvent the scents that captivate courts and cloisters alike. You find yourself amidst the bustling energy of a perfumer's workshop, where history and technique mingle in an aromatic ballet. The world of medieval perfumery was one of relentless curiosity and cross-cultural exchanges. As you look around, the ingredients tell tales of voyages, untold spices from the East, delicate florals from Mediterranean gardens, and resins from far-flung deserts, each making their way across continents. Imagine the lively docks, where longboats teeter with their fragrant cargo after enduring perilous journeys, depositing their worldly scents into the hands of eager perfumers, waiting to transform them into liquid gold. The evolving composition of medieval perfumes was frequently inspired by these intercultural exchanges. As trade routes flourished, so too did the array of scents available to European perfumers. Ingredients like sandalwood and saffron from Asia entered into delightful dialogues with indigenous botanicals such as lavender and sage, weaving complex aromatic tapestries that catered to ever-evolving tastes. These blends brought about not only olfactory innovation, but an understanding of how culture could be encapsulated and expressed through fragrance. You can almost hear the quiet laughter and trial-and-error musings of artisans who dared to break molds and experiment with novel techniques. One master might have embraced enfleurage, a laborious process involving capturing the fragrance of flowers using phaeton, arduous endeavor that yielded raw essence imbued with both simplicity and luxury. Meanwhile, another might grapple with the shimmering potential of distillation, eagerly pushing the boundaries of his own knowledge to extract the purest notes possible, dropping fragrant new pages into the annals of aromatic history. Technical innovation aside, we also peek at the stories of setbacks and ventures gone awry. Hopeful artisans who mistakenly steep untamed mandrake roots in ethanol, soon learning firsthand which hallucinogenic properties don't necessarily evoke sweet dreams, let alone marketable perfumes enriched with nostalgia and delight. Yet, it is in these lilting missteps and fractured glories that the spirit of medieval innovation truly finds its wings. Historians still ponder the cross-disciplinary tidbits that infused the world of perfumery during this period. Were advances in scent preservation ushered in directly by contemporary developments in alchemy, or indirectly influenced by aesthetic ideals found within medieval art and music? The debates persist, like notes in an unfinished composition, hinting at dialogues only partially unraveled. Regardless, the pursuit of a perfectly balanced fragrance was an art form. Encapsulated in this was the challenge of harnessing ephemeral beauty, a never-ending quest that transcended mere fragrance making. Imagine the satisfaction as a skilled perfumer finally blends the perfect concoction, a harmonious balance of heady labdanum, sweet benzoin, and the fleeting notes of bergamot. Such moments are immortalized by the soft curls of scented smoke drifting into the ira, murmur of triumph, acknowledged only by the artists themselves. Challenges also lay with the shifting societal appetites, which required the perfumer's palate to keep pace with evolving tastes. Trends that gained favor in noble courts would swiftly permeate broader society, illustrating fragrance's itinerant delicacia revelation, perpetually moving from favored folklore to newfound familiarity. Moreover, it wasn't just the ingredients and techniques themselves that evolved. The vessels that held these scents-glass bottles, ornate vials, and richly decorated amphorae became status indicators themselves, each meticulously crafted container hinting at the treasure contained within. These containers, akin to jewels, showcase the intricate artistry synonymous with the era, turning the vanity table into a shrine of sensory delight. Stepping away from this aromatic laboratory, you carry with you a newfound appreciation for the delicate intersection of tradition and novelty, innovation and heritage set, upon a foundation of dedicated craftsmanship that remains as intoxicating as the fragrances it wished to preserve. As histories fade into precious memories and familiar scents waft down the corridors of time, what lingers is an enduring spirit, sustained by creativity, curiosity, and the enduring human desire to capture the fleeting essence of a moment's beauty, held forever within the amber embrace of perfume. As you meander onward through medieval alleys of scent and sensation, your path takes an unexpected turn into a realm where the olfactory meets the culinary. Welcome to the medieval kitchen, where perfumes aren't solely confined to the boudoir or chapel, but where they weave their aromatic signatures into the very dishes that adorn a noble's feast. Imagine bustling kitchens alive, with the sizzling symphony of meats and pastries, their flavorful bounty enhanced by hints of rosewater or notes of clove and cinnamon. The culinary use of perfume in medieval times was a true feast for the senses. Sitting at a long banquet table, you find yourself in the midst of a world where the boundaries between aroma and taste blur into delicious harmony. Feasts of the great halls were grandiose affairs, and the addition of scented elements complemented both the opulence of the occasion and the aspiration to transcend mere sustenance into pure artistry. Such meals were often as much about spectacle as they were about nourishment. Picture a medieval hostess mastering her kitchen alongside a cadre of cooks, each aware that their aromatic contributions would inspire delight or disdain among the gathered guests. Sweet and savory dishes alike were elevated with scented flavorings, from the subtle infusion of orange blossom in a delicate custard to the bold combination of saffron and musk, transforming simple grains into something that tantalizes with exotic allure. Perfumed honey might drizzle over a richly spiced roast, cruelly teasing the hungry palate with each lingering fragrance. The blending of perfume and culinary creation was indeed an art, an expression of status and ingenuity. You sense the pride in the dishes served, each laden with fragrant ingredients brought from distant lands. Imagine entering a grand hall where the unmistakable aroma of rich almond flowers waft through the air, accompanied by roasted game spiced with nutmeg, cloves, and whispering hints of dried roses and olfactory delight, meant to enrapture and impress, while drawing on the heady enchantment of spices and flowers. Historians still debate the extent to which perfume ingredients directly influenced medieval cuisine, and whether it reflected a true sophistication or merely a nascent understanding of gastronomy that rode on fashion's coattails. There's an underlying tension between culinary revelation and folly, the realization perhaps that a dab of too much essence would result in gustatory cacophony rather than orchestration. Imagine the kitchen's aromatic accidents. You might chuckle at the sight of a perplexed cook realizing that his liberal application of jasmine water to the evening's soup leaves a consequential bouquet more appropriate for the parlor than the platter. Such episodes provided amusement not only to the diners, but also to the culinary crucibles of medieval cookery. Beyond the artistry, perfumes in the kitchen also served distinctly practical roles, disguising less pleasant odors and enhancing the experience of dishes that might otherwise fade into the feast's tapestry of flavors. Perfume sachets could be tucked into fresh linens to accompany meals, their presence silently and subtly complementing the feast. Whiffs of lavender mingled with baked goods cook over glowing embers, delicately lifting spirits and evoking a bloom even amidst winter's frost. As you delve deeper, consider the culinary poetry woven within rituals. Indeed, the wholesome aroma of a mulled wine, resplendent with bursts of fragrant spices, evokes a tableau where storytelling and consumption marry through ancient custom each sip, mingling comfort and harmony, befitting a king's court or a villager's hearth. The sensory choreography danced across both Yule table and midsummer feast alike, an acknowledgement of seasonal bounty enhanced through fragrant wisdom shared with open hearts. Leaving these sumptuous scenes behind, hold within you both a hunger satiated and a lesson fulfilled, realizing that scent and taste are not mere complements, but alchemical partners, hinting at a world enriched by both the tangible and the ephemeral. The medieval kitchen, therefore, becomes a realm not only of nourishment, but of fragrant discovery, a culinary journey etched in memory, served with a side of aromatic exploration, an intermingling palette painting both history and joy across the expansive table of time. Stepping out from the aromatic delights of the medieval kitchen, your journey leads you into the realm of medieval philosophia world, where intellectual curiosity blends with the physical and spiritual heights offered by fragrant compositions. Imagine yourself in the presence of philosophers and thinkers, their scholarly debates drifting upon the air like the fragrant plume of incense from a nearby brazier. You find yourself surrounded by the echoes of dusty scrolls and whispered wisdom, where perfume takes on roles that reach beyond mere sensation to explore the concept of beauty, spirit, and the human condition. In this intellectual landscape, you are transported to the heart of a medieval university or a contemplative monastic cell, where the air carries the earthy aroma of vellum mixed with the subtle scent of frankincense. Here, society's great thinkers are joined by the quest to understand the nature of beauty and the spirit, pondering questions that linger like a well-aged perfume in a sunbeam's loitering path. Scent becomes an elusive, esoteric pleasure that offers an olfactory doorway to the divinia meditative stream where spirituality and sensuality intermingle. Perfume, in these discussions, is not simply about fragrance. To the medieval philosopher, the art of creating and experiencing scent transcends physical pleasure. It connects the corporeal with the metaphysical. It evokes memories, emotions, and ideas, sparking flights of conceptual brilliance and contemplative musings. Elements such as rose and myrrh become symbols of deeper truths, their ephemeral beauty mirroring life's fleeting moments of clarity and joy. Imagine the scholarly gatherings where discussions of scent's symbolic nature might blend with physical presence. Each philosopher, with their own distinct aroma of preferred incense or oil, contributes to the intellectual tapestry. Their exchange, a symphony of ideas, punctuated by the occasional jest about airborne epiphanies. Philosophy flourishes in this environment, open to interpretation and shadowed only by the perfume's own invisible dance. Historical debate continues to swirl around the role of perfume in philosophical thought, and whether its intrinsic connection to the divine was seen as a mere distraction or as a legitimate path to enlightenment. The notion of scent as a spiritual guide, guiding one's sense of inner beauty, sparked lively exchanges across enclosed gardens and among cloistered walls. Their musings draw in stories of saints and hermits alike, who claimed perfumes to illustrate divine favor or the manifestation of grace, vast as celestial starlight. This period echoes with moments of humor too, as one envisions a hapless student stumbling into a lecture hall filled with sulphur's acrid residue, much to the chagrin of his philosophy professor, whose profound contemplations of societal balance are temporarily occluded by misplaced olfactory enlightenment. Here, the sense of wonder and whimsy blend to spark learning and laughter alike. Beyond discourse, the theologian integrates scent into spiritual practice, crafting sacred experiences that guide prayer and meditation. The curling wisp of incense guides the supplicant's thoughts to a higher plane, where words melt into impossible light, fragrant offerings of love and supplication that glide through the mind's eye with gentle grace. Medieval writings on scent explore this spiritual dimension, revealing an understanding that shifts between interpretation and visualization, a dynamic dialogue of unspoken depth. The understood essence of perfume serves to sanctify environments, enabling acts of transformation from darkened room to illuminated sanctuary, where the power of metaphor entwines with the accumulating intensity of thought, leading to ephemeral luminescence. The heady aroma of tuberose, canvassed across tension, finds its echo among the angelic choirs, echoing through a chapel's resonant hall seach, brilliant note of clarity, intertwining with reverent silence. Overtures as varied as myriad human souls. As you emerge from this cerebral voyage, the fragrances linger within your consciousness like gentle echoes. The realization unfolds that perfume, much like the thoughts it once shadowed, remains an ethereal interlocutor of wisdom, a fragrant thread linking knowledge and emotion across time's vast expanse. In every inhaled breath of the wonders captured in medieval philosophy, Celebrate the elegance of a thought inflected with fragrantia. Reminder that beauty, insight, and harmony resonate through notes uninhibitedly, suspended between the world's vast possibilities and the deepest sanctums of the soul. Your journey now leads you into the heart of medieval calamity, the relentless spectre of plague or shadow over the feudal landscape that scythed its way through humanity, leaving solemn villages in its wake. Here, amidst the juxtaposition of desperation and hope, you discover how perfumes were enlisted as allies in the enduring battle against pestilence. Perfumed air hoped to repel the invisible miasmas thought to carry death, providing comfort in times of profound uncertainty. Step into a bustling marketplace in the late medieval period, the usual chatter muted under nervous glances and whispered fears. The telltale aroma of herbal preparations and spiced potions stirs the air. Perfumes, in this context, adopted a dual role, acting both as an olfactory defense mechanism and a psychological balm, promising purity in an impure world. Many believed that the right scent could ward off the plague's unseen scourge, building a protective barrier with fortifying fragrances. As you wander through these historical scenes, observe the apothecaries concocting aromatic cocktails, blending rosemary, clove, and eucalyptus into fragrant talismans. Glistening vials bearing these pungent unguents await distribution to an apprehensive populace. Each vial represents a fragmented hope, a promise whispered into the heavy air to hold sickness at bay, to reclaim the sweet breath of health among whispers of doom. Historians still argue over the efficacy of these scented remedies, questioning whether they held any true power to combat the contagion, or if they merely offered a soothing placebo, a fragrant balm for frayed nerves. In a time when illness was attributed to bad air-malodorous clouds carrying infection, these perfumes, however implausibly, seemed a rational recourse. Their use spoke to a longing for control, offering small victories against an incomprehensible foe cloaked in mystery and darkness. Step into the homes of those who sought solace in scent, where bulbs of garlic dangled alongside lavender sachets, and pungent amulets of vinegar and rosewater adorned every doorway. The heady concoction of aromas found its way deep into domestic spaces, enveloping them in an olfactory fortress. Imagine the well-heeled lady securing her lace handkerchief, anointed with pungent perfumes, to fend off the invisible harborer of contagiona charm against fear. Moreover, scent functionality traversed empirical efficacy into trend and timing. Behold busy city streets, where aspiring swains doused in fragrant vinegars suddenly pivot, in folk-inspired folly, with bustling distractions that leave wallets light and moods lighter. Perfumed powders, sprinkled with abandon over flecks of personal and public obligation, supposedly fortified each stride within invisible armor. Amid prevailing bleakness, humor too remained a tangible companion. Envision an admirably impish cleric, retreating from the crowded church mid-mass as clouds of incense designed to sanctify air revealed themselves in arrhythmic sneezes cascading amid holy verses. Laughter, it seems, was not sidelined by perfumed airs, simultaneously retaking ground from sickness alongside silent prayers for light. Scent, while unable to hold back the onslaught of plague, painted itself into the narrative of hope and survival, a testament to human resilience. Perfumes bent on beautifying or sanctifying spaces found new purposes and underscored community. Their use, however whimsical, represented humanity's courage to sustain belief with innovation, even as Europe balanced on the cusp of change. And so, as you move away from this fragrant epoch through the mists of time, remember the uncertain courage of those striving against fear's tide. The perfume, once ephemeral haze, remains etched in history as a testament not only to the struggle against mortality, but a clarion call of spirit defianto. Honor that spirit with scented triumphs, whose memory never fades into silence. The winds of history whisper softly, carrying with them the earnest beseechments coaxed from frankincense and garlic, simultaneously fragility and strength. Ever wandering, perfumes hint at echoes of past's purpose in enduring grasp a swirling arch of fragrance, keeping vigil amidst the quietude of tonight's gentle moonlit trail. From the shadowy journey through plague-stricken streets, you now find yourself exploring the delicate yet persistent thread of gender dynamics woven into the world of medieval perfumery. In this realm, perfume transcends mere olfactory allure and becomes a tapestry of identity, societal expectations, and the subtle power plays between men and women. The air is rich with both envy and admiration, as fragrance asserts its role amidst the layers of medieval life. Imagine yourself in a medieval town square, where the scents drifting from vendors and perfumers mingle with the voices of market-goers. In this lively atmosphere, fragrance serves as a social equalizer, yet it is imbued with nuance and unspoken rules concerning gender roles. Men and women alike employ perfumes to craft their identities, using scent as a medium through which they express their place and intentions within society. The aromatic choices become part of a broader narrative, reflecting both personal ambition and cultural norms. In this nuanced dance, consider the perfume-wearing noblewoman. Her selection of fragrance extends beyond personal preference. It is a skilled maneuver within the intricate social tapestry. Lavender and rose may signify purity and status, yet there's more to it, a silent commentary on femininity, respect, and the gentle negotiation of her own societal power. Such choices can amplify her influence in chambers echoing with authority and prestige, where subtlety carries as much weight as speech. Contrast this with the medieval man who wears perfume, with notes of musk and sandalwood underscored by a masculine assertiveness. His fragrance serves as an emblem of his strength, valor, and influence, whether at the feasting table or the battleground, rich with battle cry. These chosen scents aspire to encapsulate his narrative, echoing forth tales of mighty deeds, daring adventures, or whispered promises folded within courtly compliments. Yet, behind these carefully curated aromas lies an industry that intriguingly remains largely male-dominated. The guilds and trade channels through which perfumes flowed were often managed by men, aiming to hold the perfumed reins of power and profit. The perfumers themselves, not all, but many, were men, creating and controlling the scents that enveloped both sexes, becoming the unseen hands crafting identity. Historians still engage in debates over whether this control over perfumery reflected broader societal gender dynamics, or was simply a matter of economic opportunity. The aromatic balance of power within the perfume industry, like a finely tuned scale, reflected wider tensions, yet untangling to our sense reminiscences. Amid these gender dynamics, there existed room for expression, misunderstanding, and humor. Imagine a high society event where an ambitious lady, eager to dazzle, bathes in an overwhelming cloud of exotic amber, deliberately lessened by none, as pretty lancet spins across evening's savoir-faire. Amid the aromatic cacophony, sidelong glances could bear both appreciation and cheeky goodwill, with fragrance escorting allure or amiably chasing hindsight. Moreover, perfume occasionally became a point of curious rebellion against gender conventions. On rare occasions, defiant women broke free from the constraints of sweet florals, embracing deeper, spicier scents that challenged expectations, a silent revolution encased within attar. Similarly, certain men eschewed traditional musks in favor of florals, rewriting the sensual narrative to one of personal rebellion and redefinition. In these fragrant chronicles, the scented and unspoken tango wafts through corridors gilded with secret influence, history softening contours, then yielding to tonight's address. As you step away from this era that tints the air with both the fragility and strength of gender-infused palettes, consider the Perfumean enduring thread, encircling our lives with lingering inhaled reminders, sparking thought anew, where time's curiosity meets tomorrow's fragrances born of luminous dreams. In this ode to gender intertwined with aroma walk indeed, with all perfumes whispering to the heart's kaleidoscope, drawing tapestry threads ever onward through stories sung beneath stars' silent vigil into passage, and the tenderness of sound's gentle sigh. As you weave onward through the aromatic histories of medieval times, allow the fragrant breezes to lead you into the marketplace, humming with diverse scents, each carrying a story of its own, each blend a testament to the creativity and experimentation of its time. Here, among the crowded stalls and vibrant exchanges, you're immersed in the world of popular perfume blends that captivated medieval society. Imagine yourself walking through a busy marketplace, vibrant with the exchanges of traders and townsfolk alike. The air is alive with a tapestry of scents, from the earthy hints of patchouli to the sharp zestiness of citrus oils, all mingling in the spaces between fabric and flesh. Perfumes were not merely accoutrements, but essential expressions of identity, and the variety on offer reflected both the diversity of the medieval world and its ever-changing tastes. In this bustling aromatic bazaar, you encounter some of the era's most beloved blends, each a unique concoction reflecting both the zeitgeist of the age and the influence of global trade routes. There is the warm, inviting allure of ambergris, precious ingredient drawn from the ocean's depths, its essence lending perfumes a heady, musky note that was both alluring and enduring. Combined with the sweet, resinous aroma of frankincense, it produced a fragrance that whispered of exotic lands and spiritual enlightenment. Another cherished blend you encounter is the floral bloom of roses paired with the spicy bite of cinnamon. This combination graced the noble, the storied rose lifting spirits with its delicate scent, while cinnamon provided a grounding spice that hinted at the exotic luxuries brought back from the East. Such combinations transformed ordinary moments into sublime experiences, a sip of scented celebration within life's bustling marketplace. These perfumes were more than just delightful fragrances. They served to evoke emotion, signify status, and even communicate across the veil of spoken language. Imagine a knight anointing his armor with a vegetal blend of herbs and spices, the lingering scent a silent guarantee of honor before a tournament's dawn. Or a noblewoman reading clandestine love notes, their tender promises curled within the scented parchment, perfumes of iris and lily evoking whispers sweeter than words could hold. Some fragrances dared to push boundaries, flirting with unconventional associations to shock and tantalize. You encounter blends that marry the luminous citrus notes of bergamot with the sultry depths of mirror fusion of freshness and ancient resonance that spoke to the playful and eclectic tastes of the daring. Each blend, a meiotic expression of self, evidenced how fragrance oddities might become the darlings of markets and courts. Yet beyond the acclaimed recipes, medieval perfume offered quirks that drew whispers or giggles along cobblestone walks. Visualize a bemused father, attempting to convert hopeful batches of juniper and anise into cologne, to the not-so-subtle delight or disdain of youthful attendees. Anecdotes of fragrance experimentation, reminiscent of affectionate family jests or alchemical aspirations, gone slightly awry. Historians still engage in exciting discussions, attempting to pinpoint which blends ruled the era and why. Were these concoctions shaped by the influences of trade, or dictated by the fleeting tastes of powerful nobility? The debate, much like the perfumes themselves, is shaped by the complexities of human experience and evolving cultural interchange. In this vibrant landscape of olfactory diversity, fragrance held the power to transcend social divides, becoming a social equalizer that rendered life's biggest concerns through a shared sensory canvas. Perfumes bridged the gap between aspirations and reality, offering all who might partake a fleeting glimpse of transcendence within their scented embrace. Leaving behind the clamor of the marketplace, let these sensorial delights, with their potent narratives, seep gently into memory. Whether grounded in tradition or lured by curiosity, these popular blends serve as fragrant time capsules, inviting you to explore the intoxicating dance of tradition, taste, and tomorrow's Odyssea fragrant journey beyond the sensate that whispers humanity's story ever forward, amid corridors painted gently by breath anew. Stepping away from the lively marketplace of scents, your journey now takes you into the tumultuous, yet innovatively rich period of the Crusades, time when the clash of cultures gave rise to a new era of discovery, particularly in the realm of perfumery. Here, amid the fervor and mingling of the Christian West and Muslim East, perfumes transformed, taking on new life and dimensions as cultures collided and coalesced in surprising ways. Imagine yourself amidst the hustle and bustle of a Crusader camp. The scene teems with activity. Exotic goods garnered from the East make their way into tents and trenches, spices, silks, and intriguingly, new ingredients for perfumes that the warriors and pilgrims had never before encountered. The intoxicating scents of sandalwood, jasmine, and oud drift through the camp, beckoning the curious and adventurous alike. These olfactory treasures, woven into the narrative of the Crusades, represented not just spoils of war, but intricate exchanges of culture and understanding. The influence this cultural confluence exerted on medieval European perfumery was profound. Europeans, having been exposed to the refined and complex perfumery of the Islamic world, began incorporating new methods and materials into their own practices. The technique of alcohol distillation, perfected in the Arab world, began finding its way into European perfume making, leading to lighter, more refined scents that contrasted with the heavier, oil-based concoctions previously popular. Amid this whirlwind of exchange, you observe skilled artisans learning to intertwine the Eastern tradition of subtle, layered scents with the bold, brassy fragrances of Europe. Perfume compositions became more sophisticated, embracing balance and complexity, as European perfumers adapted luxurious Eastern ingredients like ambergris and civet into their growing repertoires. This blend of influences paralleled a broader pattern of cross-cultural pollination, blending traditions with innovation in a symphony of aromas. As you wander deeper into this olfactory transformation, you can sense the excitement and intrigue surrounding these aromatic encounters. Imagine tales shared late at night around campfire stories of Arabic herbalists and their seemingly magical, fragrant concoctions, which could invigorate a weary soldier or soothe an aching soul. Enterprising European artisans took careful note, inspired to integrate these mysterious techniques into their art. There were, of course, moments of cultural clash and humorous misunderstandings. Consider a returning knight, eager to impress his court with a new fragrance acquired in the East, only to find that its exotic pungency causes more confusion than admiration among his companions. A subtle reminder that perceptions of beauty and allure are in the nose of the beholder. Yet, the exchange stretched beyond individual tastes. Historians continue to explore how the Crusades irrevocably altered Europe's economic landscape, a narrative embroidered with the threads of perfumery. The resulting demand for exotic ingredients stimulated commerce, giving rise to thriving trade networks that reshaped the medieval world, their sweet and spicy currents floating through history with the vitality of ancient rivers. Before departing this era, take a moment to appreciate the enduring gifts these encounters imparted to the realm of fragrance. The synthesis of art and science, East and West, assured that medieval perfumery, enriched by these cross-cultural exchanges, would grow into a nuanced and celebrated craft. Leaving the age of the Crusades behind, the winds carry you gently forward to the next intriguing chapter in the evolution of scent. With each passing century, the aromas of these bygone days continue to dance across time's pages, a timeless testament to the resilience and adaptability of human creativity, a fragrant reminder that through discovery and exchange, once distant lands and peoples can come together to craft a shared history perfumed with the essence of understanding. As the echoes of the Crusades fade, your path leads you to explore the unexpected but intriguing role of perfume in both war and the elusive dance of peace. In medieval times, scent was not merely a marker of luxury or a tool for courtship, but sometimes a strategic element in the nuanced games of power and diplomacy. The air here is charged with the twin currents of conflict and conciliation, each steeped with its own fragrant undertones. Imagine standing amid the subdued chaos of a medieval war camp, where the clanking of armor mingles with the earthy scent of leather and steel. In this setting, perfume takes on a role that is unusual and yet fitting, a tool for morale, a symbol of devotion, and occasionally a secret weapon of subtle persuasion. Scents that evoke home or past victories provide comfort and steadiness amidst the unpredictability of battle. In a world where psychological advantage means everything, a familiar fragrance can become an invisible ally on the battlefield. The relationship between perfume and war is layered, involving strategies as old as conflict itself. It's said that powerful scents were used to embolden troops, a mist of invigorating rosemary or a bold whiff of myrrh, meant to conjure courage in the hearts of knights preparing for battle. The fragrance of burned herbs not only sanitized the air, but supposedly fortified the spirits. A knight might tuck a perfumed sachet beneath his armor, its ephemeral touch a wished respite from the gritty reality of war. historians still debate the extent to which perfumes were effectively utilized in these martial endeavors. Did they serve as true psychological tools, or were they more of a comfort, a distraction from the fearsome prospect of battle? The discussions ripple with humor and skepticism, like soldiers sharing exaggerated tales of wafted wonders bolstering bravado. Yet, as you delve further into this aromatic exploration, consider the role of perfume in the art of peace, potent unifier, within an intricate tapestry of diplomacy and intrigue. When war-weary factions met to negotiate truces or draw boundary lines, the exchange of perfumes became a part of diplomatic ritual. A gift of fragrance was symbolic, an offering that reached beyond the spoken word, a gesture of goodwill that transcended cultural barriers and communicated intentions more sincere than an elaborate turn of phrase. Imagine the vaulted chambers of negotiation, the air faintly perfumed with offerings of rare frankincense or the refined sweetness of attar, each aroma carrying with it promises of peace and prosperity. The art of choosing and exchanging perfumes in these settings was as deliberate and delicate as the negotiations themselves. A humble gesture of gifting a treasured scent could seal bonds and solidify alliances, encasing mutual agreements in aromatic elegance. Consider, too, the role of scent in more shadowy forms of influence, the espionage of the era. Subtle applications of perfume might adorn letters, sealed with wax or accompany gifts, stealthily infused with propitious herbal blends, turning fragrance into a conspiratorial language of persuasion or surveillance, as subtle as a mysterious smile exchanged between allies or foes. Occasionally, missteps would provide moments of levity. Visualize a nervous emissary presenting an unfamiliar, potent scent that perhaps overwhelmed rather than charmed its recipients, leading to polite nods and diplomatic maneuvering amid olfactory surprise. Such mishaps remind us that even in seriousness, the world remains playfully unpredictable. Thus, perfume in this historical backdrop becomes a silent participant in the medieval dance of war and peace, a witness to calculated maneuvers and earnest reconciliations. Its presence, though perhaps understated, added a layer of complexity and humanity to the high stakes of conflict resolution. As you step away from this interwoven narrative of aromatic allegiances, carry with you the recognition that even in times of strife, the simplest of gestures and offered fragrance can serve to smooth the rough edges of humanity's darker inclinations. The scent trail you've woven through will linger, a reminder of the enduring potential for harmony and understanding, fragranced with the timeless hope of a peace more deeply anchored than the tides of any war. As the elements of history gently guide you forward, your journey now finds you at the intersection of artistry and functionality, the world of medieval perfume bottles, where the containment of precious scents becomes an art form in itself. In this space, you are introduced to objects that are not mere vessels but works of art, where every curve and embellishment tells a story as rich as the fragrances they hold. Stepping into the ornate chambers of a medieval noble's quarters, your gaze is drawn to the dressing table, where an array of delicate bottles glint in the soft candlelight. These are no ordinary containers. They are exquisite masterpieces, each uniquely crafted, embodying the personality and wealth of their owner. These bottles, crafted from glass, metal, or potteria, often as compelling as the perfumes they preserve, melding form and function with a flourish of artistic expression. Imagine holding a translucent glass vial, its surface adorned with intricate patterns etched by a skilled artisan's hand. The bottle's graceful shape is designed to fit comfortably in the palm, its stopper, a delicate seal infused with scents that promise worlds within. These containers are an apex of craftsmanship, merging utility with beauty, their elegance elevating the simple act of applying perfume to something akin to a ritual of the senses. The artistry of perfume bottles tells its own story of evolving tastes and technologies, with influences streaming from near and far, courtesy of trade routes, vast and medieval guild artisans ingenious. These containers reflect the convergence of cultural aesthetics from across the known world. Venetian glassmakers produce marvelously transparent bottles, a testament to the city's commanding role in the arts of both glass and trade. Persian influences might be seen in intricate metal work that adds a touch of Eastern mystery to the bottle's allure. Yet, perfume containers served purposes that extended beyond mere beauty. Their design was integral to the preservation of fragrance, keeping volatile essential oils from degrading by exposure to air and light. Consider a petite amphora adorned with scenes of courtly life or mythical creatures, its narrow neck regulating the flow of liquid and preserving each precious drop with calculated precision. The containers, whether positioned on pallets of gold or nestled in refined woods, bespoke lavishness and elegance. Imagine entering a great hall, where the nobility would proudly display their ornate bottles as status symbols, each piece murmuring tales of wealth and taste in colorful accents. These bottles were objects of desire, often given as gifts that signified bonds of friendship or impressed the magnitude of a benefactor's esteem. Historians continue to pore over these crafted treasures, fascinated by the intertwining of form, function, and social significance. Debates abound whether the allure of these bottles owed more to their physical beauty or their role as arbiters of class and prestigia, reflection of society's most nuanced proclivities. Amid these elegant surroundings lie moments of humor. Imagine a young aspirant at court fumbling with an overly ambitious leaky bottle, inadvertently anointing himself with precious attar-aromatic aspirations, quashed by quick rinses and laughter echoing faintly through the corridors. These ornate containers exist in the delicate balance between transitory functionality and lasting cultural imprint, anchors echoing into tomorrow's resurgence of resonance. Beyond mere physical vessels, they preserve memory, insisting upon measured pause and reflection, a careful reminder of each application's perfume story. As you release your hold from this era's enchanting allure, remember each bottle's murmur among the clinking from yesteryear, continuously whispering love's legacy to whispered dreams. The allure of these medieval containers mirrors Alluring of mystery and marvels, lingering lightly amidst the spiced corridors of time, a tender reverie, embracing history's graceful melody. As you navigate through the sweet and musky corridors of time, your path now leads you into the realm of medieval laws and regulations, a place where the fragrant world of perfume met the often rigid structures of governance. Here, you uncover the fascinating and sometimes humorous ways in which authority sought to regulate this fragrant art, balancing between control and creativity. Imagine a bustling medieval city, the air alive with vibrant scents spilling from market stalls and perfumeries. Amid the aromatic chaos, the need for regulation rises, not only to maintain fair trade, but also to protect the consumer from the myriad of mischief makers eager to capitalize on fragrance's allure. In this atmosphere of commerce and enterprise, laws and codes are crafted to manage the production, sale, and use of perfumes, underscoring these ethereal wares with the weight of law and statute. The decision-makers of medieval times, from local guilds to city councils, imposed regulations on perfume merchants with the intent of preserving both quality and reputation. In many bustling hubs like Venice or Paris, they insisted that craftsmen adhere to specific standards, ensuring that each bottle of fragrance met defined levels of quality before being presented to discerning noses. The guilds, in particular, played a pivotal role, evolving from training and protecting artisans into arbiters of standards and protectors of tradition. As you delve deeper into this regulatory world, you uncover the intricate rules that governed everything from ingredient purity to ethical advertising. Imagine the meticulous ledgers maintained by guilds detailing the provenance of each element, from pungent civet to the mystical whiffs of frankincense entries, representing the honest endeavors of artisans determined to uphold their craft's reputation. Yet, the presence of regulation was not just about protecting reputation, but also managing scarcity. Exclusive ingredients like ambergris or saffron, fetched from across far seas and desert caravans, were often subject to taxation and allocation, highlighting their worth and the fiscal eyes watching over commerce. The regulation ensured that trade flourished while guarding against monopolies that might hamper the vast exchange. Historians continue their explorations into how these regulations reflected broader medieval values, identifying whether laws were engineered purely for economic control or if they served a deeper cultural preservation. Within the tangible feel of old parchment, they observed the embers of social balance and practical governance, igniting perceptions distilled into countless regulations blooming across region and realm. Amid this structured world lay the humorous mishaps where regulation met reality. Imagine the banter of a merchant inadvertently fumbling the classification of his exotic scent blend, a local fisherman's amusement, tickled as customers experience olfactory shenaniganza, swift return to guild apprentice reclassification, sensibly demystifying deregulation's consequences. Beyond trade and commerce, the laws reached into personal expression, as social mores dictated what scents were permissible in certain circles. Noble fragrances, often exotic and perceptive, the signature of higher castes contained layers of individuality affecting public perception. Thus, crafting oneself within regulatory clauses, scents buffer common identity while nudging echoes of uniqueness gently to forefronts unbowed. As you emerge from these structured tales of regulation and recourse, ponder the delicate balance sought by those long past an equilibrium of flourishing creativity, guided lightly by containment's familiar, steady hands. Perfumes, steadfast in aromatic resilience, march beyond the scented confines of legal script into spaces transformed by vibrancy's vernal abundance. In the lilt of history's breeze, the laws echo softly within memory's refrain a gentle inscape, guiding us ever further between life's ordered steps and musings of perfumed possibility. The fragrance world, ever bound to law's watchful gaze, emerges anew within each perfumed breath, spirited onward upon tonight's dreaming estuary. Stepping beyond the regulatory frameworks that sought to bind and guide the art of perfumery, you are ushered into a realm that blends aspiration with divination, the elusive pursuit of perpetual fragrance. In the medieval world, capturing the fleeting nature of scent and prolonging its presence became a tantalizing endeavor, one that spoke to the human desire to merge the ephemeral with the everlasting. Imagine standing in a perfumer's workshop, the air thick with the aromatic reverie of 1,000 trials and tribulations. Here, artisans devoted themselves to the alchemical pursuit of persistence, striving to craft fragrances that would endure beyond the limitations set by nature and time. The process was as much about innovation as it was about obsession, driven by a desire to immortalize a moment or memory, bottle it, and carry it forth into eternity. In their quest, perfumers borrowed from alchemical practices, using powders, tinctures, and essences in novel combinations that sought to stabilize and sustain fragrance. Oils served as mediums to capture volatile essences, locking in the soul of flowers and spices. The musk of deer, ambergris from the sea, or resin from ancient forests, became critical ingredients in these ambitious concoctions, known to enhance longevity as their natural fixatives entwined fleeting top notes with a heartier base. Yet this quest for everlasting fragrance was not without its challenges or its missteps. Historians still passionately explore the extent to which medieval perfumers succeeded in their endeavors, whether their elusive quest bore fruits visible beyond the perfumed vapors or remained forever harbored in aromatic dreams. Visualize the quiet determination of an artisan as they craft an elixir believed to grant a sweet-smelling aura, only to discover, to their bemused frustration, that the fragrance defies captivity. The trail of laughter and experimentation punctuates the path, highlighting both human ingenuity and the cheeky capriciousness of nature's hand. Consider, too, the influence of this perennial pursuit on society's broader understanding of time and beauty. Commissions from nobles and clergy tasked the maker with bottling legacy and sanctity alike here. Liquid song within glass lyric, silently whispering homage into history's breath. Amid the determination of alchemical fusion, ponder the humor-touched hearth where, on occasion, the blending of ideas resulted in olfactory disasters notably unfit to transcend a springtime rainstorm eliciting apologetic chuckles rather than grand applause. Imagine the scent mislabeling disaster, one where the aromatic apple blend intended for eternity softly evolved into everyday applesauce long before its smelling salts. Yet, not all ambitions were ephemeral. Nestled within these trails of aspiration lay hints of successful synthesis. Perfumes of this age held wisdom enduring enough to transcend the centuries, their recipes woven into the naissance of modern perfumery, crafting silken strands from tradition laced against time's ephemeral notes into endless inclines. As you leave the workshop of Perpetual fragrance, the air tinged with the anticipation of a discovery always just out of reach, carry with you an admiration for the tenacity of the human spirit. Here is a story of imagination's flight, an exploration of the senses wrapped within the fragile currency of scent, leaving the legacy of dreams distilled into vials. Observe once more the perfumes of that bygone age, now woven through history's spiral, unfurling in the wafting scents that float serenely to today's embrace. They bid you forward, honoring perfumers' tireless endeavor embracing fragility's charm and eternity's mysterious. Enduring narratives interlace eternal, spirited growth amidst quiet unfolding. As you step through the aromatic spirals spun by the quest for eternal scent, your journey leads you into a sphere where folklore and supernatural beliefs swirl amidst the misty aura of medieval storytelling. In this enchanted realm, perfume transcends its earthly bounds, becoming a medium that binds the mundane with the magical, weaving tales rich with the fragrance of legend and lore. Picture yourself in a dimly lit chamber, where shadow and light engage in a timeless dance across the faces of storytellers, who speak of enchanted woods and ethereal beings. It is here that the power of scent threads through the fabric of folktales, carrying whispers from a world where the boundaries between reality and fantasy blur. In this world of tales and wonder, scents serve as more than mere backdrops. They become woven into the narrative itself, imbuing stories with layers of sensory allure. Imagine a tale of fairies dwelling in groves bathed in the perfume of lavender and thyme, their presence announced by the heady aroma that heralds their approach. These scents, set free in the wild imagination of folklore, transform into enchanted agents, hinting at other realms and opening doorways to unseen dimensions. Scented potions and enchanted perfumes become potent symbols of transformation. Within these tales, perfumes have the power to alter destiny. Single drop can claim love or unleash chaos. Whether a mystical elixir or an enticing enchantment, fragrance holds sway over the fortunes of those who dare to wield it. These stories become woven with the idea that scents can capture and convey more than the present moment. They can shift the tides of fate. Historians continue to explore how these folktales, infused with olfactory imagery, reflect the deeply ingrained beliefs of medieval communities. Was the prominence of aroma in legend a result of its mystical properties, or did it simply resonate with audiences weary of the stark realism of their own lives? The interplay of faith, fragrance, and fantasy threads through the scholarly debate, echoing the timeless tension between belief and skepticism. Yet, amidst the tales of awe and wonder, there is room for humor within this odorous folklore. Picture, if you will, a mischievous spirit who sprinkles unsuspecting travelers with the scent of new fallen rain, bewildering them with its sudden appearance under clear schizen. Olfactory trickster, delighting in the confusion they sow. The supernatural lore of perfume also extends into rituals and customs, where the potent aroma is believed to ward off evil or invite divine favor. Plumes of incense curl through sacred spaces, their tendrils claim to cleanse and sanctify, guiding souls on their journeys and fortifying the living against malevolent forces. Fragrance, within this context, acts as a bridge between worlds, a thread connecting the corporeal with the celestial. Amidst these folkloric imaginings, the boundary between the real and the otherworldly dissolves into a continuum where scent serves as an eternal link. These scented tales, retold through the ages, become deeply rooted allegories of life, illuminated by the perfume of possibility. As you walk away from the rich tapestry of folklore and supernatural beliefs, remember these stories not only as products of their time, but as vibrant expressions of timeless human curiosity. Scent, with its ethereal reach, permeates the boundaries of myth and memory, encapsulating a symphony of stories that continue to capture our imagination today. Feel the echo of these perfumed narratives, as they linger in the air, a whispered reminder that in the vast corridors of human experience, the marriage of scent and story reaches beyond the ephemeral into realms eternal. The timeless allure of folklore perfumes our dreams, a tireless beacon guiding us through the cloak of night, where every fragranced page leads our steps further upon the path of wonder. Emerging from the mystical haze of folklore and legends, Your journey through the scented passages of history takes a leap into the modern world. Here, you are invited to explore the legacy of medieval perfumery and its enduring influence on contemporary scent science and industry. The alchemical explorations and aromatic artistry of the past have laid the foundation for today's sophisticated fragrances, turning timeless traditions into a vibrant testament to human ingenuity. You now find yourself in a sleek, bright laboratory where the air hums with the energy of scientific discovery. Stainless steel and glass replace medieval wood and stone, yet the underlying quest remains the same: capturing the essence of beauty and translating it into scent. Breathe in deeply. The air is a fusion of craft and chemistry, where ancient secrets meet modern innovation. The legacy of medieval perfumery can be seen in the very foundations of this contemporary exploration. The distillation techniques perfected over centuries remain indispensable to today's perfumers, with modern advances lending precision to extraction processes that once relied on trial and error. Essential oils extracted from exotic botanicals, once sourced by medieval merchants and explorers, continue to be the backbone of modern fragrance. Imagine technicians in lab coats moving with purpose between stations, their discussions peppered with chemical names and olfactory notes, engaged in perfecting the elusive blend that might become tomorrow's classic. These artisans, grounded in both artistry and science, merge the time-honored with the avant-garde, writing the next chapter in a fascinating tradition with each experimental blend. Historical debate persists regarding the extent to which medieval innovations influence contemporary works, with some scholars arguing that while techniques have evolved, the essence of the craft remains tethered to its fragrant origin. Others propose a more dynamic interplay, where every era reinvents scent in its own image and evolutionary dance, refined by the changing tides of culture and technology. Amid this blend of past and present lies a delightful discovery, historical callback cherished by perfumers and consumers alike. Natural ingredients, revered in antiquity and rediscovered through sustainability efforts, find new relevance in contemporary blends, marrying nostalgia with eco-conscious practices in perfumes, echoing the whispers of history. Reflect for a moment on the humor that inevitably accompanies human endeavors. Visualize a modern-day apprentice who, perhaps not unlike their medieval counterparts, might delight in concocting a surprisingly potent brew, its scent wafting through the lab with unexpected whimsy, eliciting curious glances and laughter from their colleagues. The robust science of scent has inspired both innovation and introspection. Study after study explores how fragrances affect mood, memory, and even performance. Within these modern inquiries, the ancient understanding of perfume as transformative persists. We use perfumes not only to allure and enchant, but also to bridge points in time, evoking past memories with a simple inhalation each scented motif, a thread linking modern lives to yesteryears. Standing in this luminous laboratory, you appreciate the ever-evolving dialogue between past and present, from the intimate perfumeries of medieval guilds to the cutting-edge fragrance houses of today, and recognize each as partners in a story still unfolding. The magical blending of culture and commerce transforms perfumery into an art form that transcends time. Each bottle, a flacon of history, promised dreams, and future fantasies sealed vulnerably with a single, scented twist. As you step back from the precipice of this fragrant intersection, hold within you the recognition that while the techniques and technologies advance, the heart of perfumine, engagement of mind, senses, and spirit remains unchanged. The air carries with it a legacy, perfumed with dedication and creativity, that forever links the whispers of the past with the possibilities of the future. Through scent, we are reminded of the rich continuity of human expression and the endless potential of perfume to evoke and inspire a fragrant path, always leading forward, ever engaging, ever revealing. From the sleek laboratories of today, where science and perfumery dance in step, your journey now guides you back through the corridors of time to rediscover the lost sense of history, a fragrant archaeology of sorts. Modern efforts have turned to what was once forgotten, seeking to reconstruct the perfumes worn and cherished by medieval peoples. Through these endeavors, we aim to experience, firsthand, the the scented traditions of a vibrant past. Imagine yourself in an artist's studio, where researchers and perfumers collaborate, surrounded by ancient texts, historical reconstructions, and fragrant samples from both past and present. The air is alive with anticipation, as the past slowly unveils its secrets through the careful art of olfactory sleuthing. Here, science, history, and art blend together, driven by the hope of breathing fresh life into the fragrances that once defined an era. These modern endeavors rely on a trove of historical clues, medieval manuscripts, recipes, and trade records accumulated by ancient apothecaries and perfumers. Each scrap of information serves as a gateway, a trail leading back through centuries to unlock a scent's lost identity. The task is nuanced as artisans decipher these historical documents, piecing together the alchemical jigsaw of yore's aromatic masterpieces. Imagine a cluster of eager historians leaning intently over a weathered parchment, reciting a recipe preserved through time, while curious perfumers and chemists, with pipettes and scales, mix and blend in the pursuit of authenticity. These recreations rely not only on historical acumen, but also on the intuitive art of scent, channeling imagination into each precious formula testament to the ingenuity and passion that seeks to capture these vanished olfactory experiences. Among these projects, historians and linguists still debate the exact interpretations of ancient texture to balance the poetic with the pragmatic. Did medieval recipes intend to capture the scent exactly as described, or might these mixtures have invited artists to inject their creative flair? The academic discourse unfolds much like the scented blooms that inspire such quests, revealing layers of understanding that continue to intrigue. Yet, the journey to unearth time's forgotten fragrances holds an element of humor and surprise. Picture a meticulous recreation, resulting in a scent far more reminiscent of a medieval banquet hall than the pleasant floral bouquet, expected a reminder that times and noses change, much like fashion itself. Beyond scholarly curiosity, the quest to rediscover lost scents speaks to a broader human desire, the longing to connect with our ancestors through the intimate sense of smell. Perfumes awaken memories and emotions, bridging lifetimes with a single whiff, allowing us to share in the experiences of those who lived centuries before. Through these reconstructions, we gain a deeper appreciation for the rich tapestry of human experience, weaving past and present into an eternal narrative of aroma. Envision the enjoyment of visitors in a carefully curated exhibition as they explore scented rooms filled with the reconstructed aromas of medieval life, each fragrance, a portal through which the past whispers its tales. Nostalgia mingles with discovery as olfactory adventures traverse cultural history, stretching across a multisensory experience beyond sight and sound. As you step away from the reimagined medieval aromas, carry with you the enduring connection through scent bond to centuries past that crosses time and memory, an eternal thread linking countless generations. In every recreation, a fragment of history is brought back to life, its story swirling with the vividness of its once-forgotten scents. The fragrance of history lingers in the air, a sweet reminder of how the past continues to guide our senses, revealing stories both ancient and new. The olfactory bridge between today and yesteryear remains, an enduring testament to the ceaseless dance between exploration, nostalgia, and the timeless joy of rediscovery. Perfume, brewed anew, invites us to savor our shared heritage, exploring the ties that bind and inspire with every fragrant step, embracing echoes of time's symphonic embrace. As you approach the final chapter of our fragrant journey, let your senses guide you through the richly woven tapestry of time-worn aromas. This moment invites reflection, tracing the evolution of scent from the medieval era to today, with stories of both subtle fragrances and powerful perfumes lingering in your memory. Here, as the senses absorb the fading notes of history, you come to appreciate how these scents transcend mere materiality, weaving themselves into the very fabric of human experience. Standing at the crossroads of past and present, you find yourself enveloped by the profoundly evocative nature of scent. Each whiff you encountered along this journey forms a narrative, savoring both grandiosity and nuancia, collective engagement between spirits of the past and present, drawn together by olfactory threads. You hold within you a collection of stories immortalized in scent, each one tethered firmly to a memory or a moment, whether it be the mystery of alchemists' experiments or the richness of cross-cultural exchanges. In the world of scents, every fragrance becomes a vessel, delicately but powerfully conveying history like a book without words. Each inhalation echoes its own complex tale. Imagine breathing in the sweet notes of lavender, which take you back to the quaint medieval herb garden where it all began, its aromatic appeal both comforting and invigorating. Or perhaps the spicy whisper of cinnamon transports you to the bustling Crusader camps, where both conflict and camaraderie found common ground. As the fragrances of history waft around you, there is an undeniable sense of continuity. Despite the changing landscapes and evolving tastes, perfumes of the Middle Ages have left their indelible mark on modern scent science. Each blend a testament to human creativity's ceaseless flame, fueled by the timeless desire to capture ephemeral beauty. Even now, as new generations of perfumers experiment and innovate, the influence of their medieval predecessors is palpable. Historians' debates fade into appreciation, acknowledging that, while we may never fully encapsulate every nuance of those ancient perfumes, the steadfast pursuit yields its charm. It's a testament to innovation's enduring spirit and the interplay between scent, memory, and identity that links humanity across epochs. The scent trail through the corridors of time leaves an impressiona lingering invitation to seek beauty, wonder, and connection in everyday life. The various vignettes of perfumed art serve as fragrant signposts along this path, encouraging a deeper understanding of our shared history and vibrant cultures. As the day's light wanes, and the intoxicating memories of intrigue and delight recede like a fading dream, allow your senses to bask in this bittersweet reverie. Let your heart and mind wander freely among the scented stories that history has generously shared. The world of medieval perfume, with all its complexities and mysteries, gently closes its scented curtain, leaving you with echoes resonating in delicate suspensions of curiosity memories, scented with the fullness of lives once lived. The passage of time brings forth a calming lullaby for the spirit, resounding softly along the rhythmic pull of ancient fragrances' sojourns. And now, dear traveller, as you retreat into the quiet embrace of evening, allow yourself to drift effortlessly on a fragrant breeze. Within each perfumed whisper lies a promissa, soft reminder to treasure each subtle scent, to recall shared stories, and to reflect on the beauty woven into every aromatic note. Sweet dreams.